30.
Yeah.
Okay, today is Wednesday, September 20th, 4:30. This is a Zoom meeting and will be broadcasted on YouTube. Call to order.
Patrick McGovern, present.
Paul Pacheco, present. Pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Town nurse.
Good afternoon, everyone. I will be reading Nurse Nicole's report for the month of September. On 9/7, she attended an education session on the new RSV vaccine. Also same day, in anticipation of the installation of the Narcan boxes in the town hall and the old town hall, myself and recovery coach Deb Kelsey from HCS conducted an employee education and Narcan demonstration. 9/9, she attended the Firecracker Festival, had a table with, and helped support HCS table. She passed out almost 100 health kits and first aid kits. And thank you very much for the tablecloth. It looked great. September is Emergency Preparedness Month. For this, I conducted 2 trainings, one on 9/14, hands-only CPR education, and on 9/18, a Stop the Bleed training for residents. She has an upcoming flu vaccine clinic on October 28th from 9 to 12 at the Old Town Hall. She's waiting for the flyer from Manet, and we'll get it up on Facebook.
Thank you. Okay, Commissioner.
Evening, board. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's well. Good evening, Dayton. So just a few things tonight. Things are doing very well in the office. Heather has acclimated extremely well. She has 2 certifications under her belt and she's working on her 3rd. So things are progressing as we hoped and expected. The office remains busy, a significant amount of perk tests. Plan reviews have gone down a little bit, but obviously with the perk test influx, we'll see more plans sometime in the next few weeks. The fee schedule, which I hope to have done for tonight, is not done. However, I am going to send it out to the board members in the next couple of weeks for you to review. And I'm hoping that you'll put it on next month's agenda for action. It'll be a comprehensive fee restructuring. Everything will be included. I'm going to consolidate whatever I can to simplify and then make everything just as we talked in the past, cost-based approach where whoever needs the service pays for the service. Speaking of that, priority prevails. So most of the time in the last few weeks has been in discussions about the Pay As You Throw program, our trash bag curbside pickup program. You'll see on the agenda that we have a representative here from Waste Zero to discuss the retail portion of their bag program. We are still experiencing issues with bag quality from our current vendor. So my hope tonight is to have a healthy discussion with Waste Zero, who submitted bag samples, pricing. It's all in line with where the other quotes came in. So now we just have to figure out if we're going to switch vendors. And in switching vendors, I like to vet this retail program, which would take the management of the retail bag sales away from the department and into the hands of a professional who do it on a daily basis. So other than that, unless the board has any questions of me, I'd like to move on.
Oh, that's all.
No? Okay, thank you.
Ms. Ferry?
I don't have anything.
Okay. All right, old business, the town trash bags presentation. Discussion with Waste Zero. Oh,
Board, thank you for having me tonight. My name is Lauren Saunders. I'm from Waste Zero. I'm filling in for Taylor Millspaw. She is unfortunately out of the country, so I am here tonight. So I know I know, good timing. Get me tonight. So I come from Gardner, Mass. That's where I live, where just a little background about myself. I was also the health director there. So I have a little background. I've done one or two of these meetings in my day, especially during COVID, a little more frequent. And one of the cool things is that I actually have experience with Waste Zero and the RSD program. When I became the health director, I was just getting these monthly reports. Bags were just magically being replenished in all my stores. My residents could go and buy the bags and I didn't have to do any work. I was like, this is great. So I would love to talk to you about that tonight and let you know kind of how that works. It's like magic behind the scenes. It didn't take any of my staff resources away. My staff had spent no time on the retail store distribution program. It's a great program. We do everything. It's turnkey, start to finish. So be happy to walk you through that.
Sure.
So basically, in a nutshell, if you were to go to RSD, how it would start is you give us a list of retailers that you would like to see, hold the bags in their stores. We send out a letter to touch base with them. It's an introductory letter. It tells them how the RSD program works from start to finish. So it goes over how they have to order, what day they have to order by. Stores are replenished weekly with bags. We actually have a warehouse, even though these bags are made in the US, they're made in the Carolinas, but we have a warehouse in Agawam. So nice local here in the state. So bags are shipped to the stores every week. So hopefully never run out of bags. We handle all of the billing, all the behind the scenes work. Your bags will have your logo on it. They have a nice Waste Zero phone number on the bag. So if there's any quality issues, customer complaints, they call us directly. We take care of it. We handle we would set up a fiduciary bank account in your name. So when we get payments for bags, we deposit them into that account. The money is actually yours. So they go to you at the end of every month. So usually around the 15th of every month, we send a wire transfer along with a report, the detailed report of everything we've done financially throughout the month with those bags. So from soup to nuts, we warehouse the bags, we control the inventory, we handle the program logistics, we manage all the relationships with the different retailers, handle all accounts receivable, and we manage all the accounts in the reporting. So it frees up your staff time. Your staff's not handing out bags. They're not dealing with phone calls that we're out of bags. Like none of that will be on your end. It's all handled by us. We do this for over 150 municipalities. We know what we're doing. We have the experience. And also a nice thing about having the bags in the stores, it provides a lot more options as far as where your residents can go and get the bags. So it could be like a Sunday night at 8 o'clock. Obviously they can't come here and get the bags. The stores, they're open. They can go in, grab the bags. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about RSD.
The difference in the price, whether we buy the bags from you or have you do the full service. That, 1120 case. You went up with the bags. What's that? Go ahead. Yeah, I was figuring this up. I got another test.
Yeah, I have a couple questions.
Sure.
Hi, Lauren. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
So, although we hope that the quality issues would go away, if we decide to move with you, we know that occasionally in manufacturing, it does still happen.
Sure.
How would a resident be handled if they had a problem with bag quality? How does your company deal with that?
So as I mentioned that we put our 1-800 number right on the bag. So the resident say the bag splits, there's an issue with the bag. Okay, this stuff does happen. It happens with Hefty bags. It happens with Glad bags. It happens with our bags. They can call the number, speak to our customer care team. There's a representative always there to take the call. We will talk to the customer, figure out what's going on. We send a replacement roll out right to the customer.
So ship to them?
Yep, that we can do that. Yep. Also, we can do replacement cases for stores. Say, heaven forbid, there was a problem with a whole case at a store. We would send out a replacement case to them.
Obviously, because it's a quality issue, there would be no cost to us. Correct. Correct.
Yeah, we like to keep some inventory, behind the scenes for issues that may arise.
So although it's not a huge part of our retail sales, people still do come into the Board of Health office to buy bags. So I'm guessing that would still be an option because they're all bags, correct?
Yeah, you can have that as an option. I mean, we encourage full retail store distribution, but if you wanted to keep a couple cases in the office, I mean, that's definitely an option. We can work with you on that.
Board, so if you wanted to see sales in the office, that's fine. But I just know that, especially in Dayton, we've always sold them in the department. So, but I don't have any preference either way.
That's where I get mine.
I need you to sell some back too, so they would probably want.
I think if we did that, they would have to buy a roll from us, and that's how they'd have to. Then they could do it that way. But you know, we can flush that out. I just know that in a small community, I think that would be something that
Yeah,
people still want to see.
yeah, we'll have to discuss that. I think a lot of people, when they go for the bags, they want to go for something else also, so they prefer going to a store. Now, what about the price of bags? We still set that?
Yep, you set the price. The retailers, typically you can't mark them up. They're non-taxable and the retailers don't make a profit. However, it's beneficial for the retailers to carry them because if somebody goes to Hannaford and they don't have the bags, then they might go take their business elsewhere. So most stores we see do want to carry the bags. They want to keep their customers happy and coming in the store.
And right now, when we were doing it, they are making money.
I don't know the logistics. You know, I think everyone knows we're fairly fresh at this, so I haven't fully vetted
Right.
the revenue side of things. But in my opinion, the way it was just described by Lauren is how it should work.
Yeah, I do too. But, Elizabeth, they don't pay the full retail for the bags, do they?
No, there's a small discount.
But I agree with you, that it's beneficial for them to carry them, just to get people in the store.
Absolutely.
And what we had discussed, me and Jim, maybe going two different options. I like the way that you want to do it. Because if we don't make, if they're gonna make a profit off them, my feeling, it's not the board's feeling, it's my personal feeling is that they should pay up front. And then they can sell.
Mhm.
But you're telling me you're gonna give them so many days, a month to pay the bill?
Yeah, so we would invoice them every month. They have an opportunity to pay. If for some reason they get behind. So, you know, we say we like to take orders from the stores weekly. So we have a system that, so say ABC store hasn't paid and they're getting close to that overdue date. When they go to order their bags, we'll give them a notification. Oh, you know, you're coming up on being overdue. You need to pay the payment. If they don't make payment for the bags, we stop sending them supply.
Now, how do you expect the payment from them? If you drop them off 6 cases and in a month they only sell 4, are you invoicing them for all 6 or only for what they sold?
That's a great question. I will have to get back to you on that.
I would say just based on listening to Laura and the way you program work, certainly not.
Yeah, Mark was all.
I would say that if you drop off and you ship 6 cases, they're gonna be good cases.
And they'll have those cases. So then the next month, they probably wouldn't order a full 6. They'll have those. And
Right, but they still should be paying for them in 30 days.
they're gonna pay for whatever we give them, I would imagine.
Can be adjusted to, we'll soon learn how many cases each place goes through per month.
Right, we do have that data, we just haven't put it in a spreadsheet yet. And I was reluctant to spend time and money and labor on things if we decide to go with the retail program. I mean, we need to know how many cases we sell, but we don't need to have that information. However many they order, you're gonna fulfill. So-
Correct, yeah.
Now, is there anything like a half a case? I mean, we have some small places in farm stands that might not be open year round. And I don't know what their volume is gonna be. A case might last them 3-4 months.
Yeah, we typically, we only really can ship a case at a time. I think if internally you guys wanted to work something out where you have bags in the office or at the council on aging and you wanted, you know what I mean? I'm sure you could work that out internally, but as far as shipping, we do a case. As a minimum.
You ship them or you deliver them yourself? I mean, it's shipping either way, though.
I pick them up, I put them in my car and I bring them to you. No, I'm just kidding. No, we ship them from our warehouse in Massachusetts.
Your own trucks or UPS them?
FedEx, usually, or say, yeah. You know,
Is there any additional cost for the rate from FedEx?
it's all built in.
It's all built into this price?
Yep.
Pat, you have any questions?
No,
Okay, so the other question I had, kind of gets into the weeds of how we would implement this program if we move forward. Right now, Dayton's used to upfronting the money for a year's worth of bags,
Mhm.
which can cost upwards of $40,000. So how, if we partnered with you, and I do think this would be a partnership, how would that work moving forward? Is it the same? Are there options? How would that work?
Yeah, so we do two different options. We do customer owned inventory. So you would purchase, so we would kind of figure out what we think you're going to use. We would recommend, I think, based off your usage, that the numbers that we've run over, we would recommend ordering 200 cases at a time. So you would buy those 200 cases up front. You own them, we warehouse them for you. The other option is Waste Zero owned inventory, but obviously we want to make sure that the inventory is moving, that we don't get stuck with it. So it all, we invoice you, you get your inventory, it's all added in that fiduciary bank account. So we definitely can work with you, however you think best fits the town.
Yep. When you said that you invoice us for 200 cases, so we have to pay up front for that?
So yeah, if you do customer owned inventory, you're gonna buy those 200 cases. Whenever the cases need to be replenished, we send them out. And we'll track it all. You'll get your wire report. You'll see what's going where, what time of the month.
the difference in these pricing, like the price on the front, in the RFP and then including the services. So the services are you guys shipping them to the customer. So that would be this one. This first one would be if we bought the bags from you.
Yeah, the price that includes the RSD designation,
Each.
this is the price, it's including the retail distribution system.
Okay, so that's if they send.
That's an all-inclusive price, right?
And that's you sending it to the vendors, you dealing with everything.
Yep.
And the front page would be us just ordering bags from them.
Correct, yep.
The other thing that we talked about internally, and this is non-scientific, we talked with a couple of people who use the bags, Dayton residents. We think that we might want, at this time, if we make a change, to go to a drawstring bag. There seems to be a demand out there for drawstrings as opposed to the old type. And there's not a huge difference in price for drawstrings. And then the other thing is we were thinking about going with a colored bag instead of a clear bag.
Mhm.
Now, is it more expensive for the process for the large bags versus the small ones?
It's more material, takes more material to make the bags that we're.
No, I understand that, but if I take the price of just the bag itself
Mhm.
versus the price of you guys distributing them for us. On a small bag,
Oh, yeah, because
Much heavier.
weight was shipping.
I mean, it's not a big difference, but it is a difference.
Yeah, a bag of large is much heavier than a bag of small, so I'm gonna say freight.
That's definitely true. I can tell you that.
That's right, we put them in the car.
Yes. Yep, I lifted myself. I'm sure it will happen, trust me. I have a sample retailer letter here, just if you guys want to take a look, I can leave it with you. It's just something that gets sent out to the retailers. It goes over all the logistics of the program, ordering, I mentioned. So I can leave that if you would like. Absolutely, yep. This is for one of my.
Sure, the chair's gonna ask a couple of questions.
As far as the drawstring, I'd say 80% of customers prefer the drawstring. It's just a lot. Yeah. It's a lot easier.
After putting trash in a bag, I don't like touching it and then trying to tie a knot into it. I'd rather just
Yeah.
pull the strings and just
Like
run
it's
with it.
full and there's stuff and tying it up, not easy.
Do you have any samples with you?
Oh, we have them downstairs.
I'll do it.
I have some in my purse as well, if you'd like to catch one right now.
And you have one.
I do, yes. Big purse. Are 33 by 55, 33 gallon, 1.5 mil.
That was the whole roll.
Yeah, it's a whole roll. Gonna rip one off.
That's fine, I can watch. It's a trap.
Watch you do the experiment.
I trust you, Paul. You put it up a little.
Yeah, I just want to see it was.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other ones were.
My blood sugar was dropping. I gotta go one way or the other.
Your turn? But they have a lot thicker seam on the sides than what the others have at the bottom. Where the bottom is blown out, I think more pressure is going to the bottom anyways, that's just a fold, so that's not that great.
Never realized there was so much involved in trash until I started on the Board of Health.
Yep. Trash is huge business.
Yeah, when it encompasses almost $1 million from our budget.
Massive. Yep. I ran a transfer station and a curbside trash program. Trash took up like a lot of my time.
We have a choice of colors,
You do, yes.
Says yellow on time.
what do you want?
Orange, yellow. I like purple too. Portland, Maine has purple. Portland, purple.
Yeah, can you get two-tone?
Now you're getting pushy.
Green bag,
No.
strings.
I wish. That would be cool.
Those bags don't look as deep as the bags that you, I would literally be thinking. They may be wider, but they don't look as deep.
Right, but
So the question is, how many, say 13-gallon bags would you say you could put in front of us?
You can definitely, it depends how full they are, you know, you can definitely put 2. I've seen people do 3. I've
Most
seen,
people put 3, and we have done drawstring before, and people hated it.
really?
Because, and it's, maybe they're different.
Oh, yeah, I
companies,
know.
Just because they would pull them, you know, to pull them tight and they rip. Or they couldn't put as much trash in them because of the drawstring. So I know people want drawstring, they're easier, I agree.
Yes.
But when we did do them, I don't know how many years back, people had problems with them and we switched. Back in
So, I mean, yeah, I've ripped a few bags in my day as well.
You know, everybody.
You definitely, sometimes you pack them more than others, but the whole idea is to reduce trash, so. Yeah, that's. Yeah, it's definitely, if you have the different shapes, it does play with, but I mean, this is a 33 gallon, right?
and I actually thought that those looked bigger. Yeah, I thought those looked bigger.
Not lengthwise.
Me, it looks like.
Yeah, it's wider. It's
Yeah,
definitely.
well, that's why they seem to be a lot bigger.
One thing we have to remember is that we're not gonna make every single person happy. And I understand that. I mean, obviously, everybody at home, our goal is to do that, but it's just not gonna happen. We need to run this program responsibly, and make it cost effective, and we need to try to make it pay for itself. And those are all hard things to do and still make everyone happy.
Right.
So obviously, if there's a quality issue, we need to address that. But if it's a different bag and you gotta put your trash in a little differently, don't forget, if we go with different bags, they'll both be different. So.
No, I agree.
But your current 13-gallon bag may be shaped differently, so it's not gonna fit the same way you're doing right now. Both bags may be shaped a little differently. So, you know, it's just a different way to get used to how you.
Right, like you said, it's all in volume.
I'm not opposed to the new bags. I know people, I deal with people daily, and the first thing they're gonna do is they're gonna hold it up and go, it's not as big as the bag I just used.
Right.
That's all I,
We can do a little show and tell, you know, when we roll this out and show the new one, the old one, we'll put the same amount of trash, both of them. And everybody will understand it's the same size bag.
Yeah, I don't even think that's necessary. As long as,
Nice touch.
you know, as long as we've got the same volume. And even if we don't, if we adjust, we have to adjust our prices.
Yeah, this is,
And if we adjust our bag size, that's something that we have to decide.
Right.
You know, just because we're selling 31-gallon bags now, doesn't mean we can't move to 28-gallon bags. What are your different options?
actually, our current size bag will have to do that. On certain size bags, yes. So we're in the middle of the contract, let's not negotiate that, we're trying to keep the same volume bag.
Okay.
That we currently have.
Right. No, I was just making the point that if it wasn't for that, we could negotiate, when we negotiate a new contract.
Right, exactly.
Now, how long is the contract gonna last for?
So we work with you on the contract length, whatever works for you. Like, as Jim mentioned earlier, he kind of wants to coincide this with his current existing hauler contract. We've done 3 years with 2 possible year extensions. We can do a 1 year. I mean, we really are flexible as far as what meets your needs.
Have you read the contract?
The current size hauler contract,
Yes.
we have about a year and a half left on that contract. And it's my understanding that hauler would like to resubmit an additional bid at the end of that term.
Okay. Now, if something would happen and he didn't meet the contract, if he went out of business and the contract fell short and we had to get somebody else and they don't use bags, then we would be sitting with a lot of bags.
Well, we'd be forced to continue to buy bags as long as our contract duration was. And then at the end of that, we'd have to unfortunately break the partnership.
Right, but what I'm saying is I don't want to have a contract and we have to keep buying bags that we can't use.
Yeah, I understand that. That word if is a big word. You can put that in a lot of different sentences and it changes the context.
Yeah.
But we have a curbside trash haulers with us for 40 years. They have indicated they want to stay with us. So I think for face value, we need to, you know, at least have the mindset, understanding that anything can happen. Have the mindset that this pay-as-you-go program is going to stay in existence, at least for the foreseeable future.
Also, I mean, the bags can be used in any scenario. So if you went fully automated, full carts, you can still utilize the bags in the carts. There's technology in trucks that can make sure that they're dumping the right bags. There's a lot of things.
If you have the containers on the side,
Mhm.
they don't have to buy a bag, right?
Well, yeah, that's how we pay for the program. We haven't even started discussions on that because right now we're a bag town with a curbside pickup. We don't have automated trucks, at least it looks like right now, at least a year and a half, it's gonna stay that way.
Right.
Possibly even another 3 years additional. But to just extrapolate on Lauren's comments, if we have a pay-as-you-throw program, people still may have to buy bags in order to pay for that program, even if they have a cart that is used by the waste hauler to put the refuse into the truck. And you're right, there is technology out there with cameras where it actually looks at the bags being dumped.
Yeah.
They know if we have a compliant user or not.
I thought when Melissa was here, she said that the trash would go right into the containers and then they just dump the container.
Recycling, yes, not trash.
Trash still have to go in the bags and
Right,
the
trash,
pickup
trash,
section.
you know,
They do?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It can be a blue bag.
Recycling, trash,
She said it was a state program to pay for those carts.
there is.
For the
But that was-
carts, yeah, but you still gotta put the trash in the bags.
And we still need to pay for the curbside pickup. So right now, trash bags are the way we're gonna pay for that. we haven't had any discussions about changing that method of revenue to get to pay for this program.
So you believe that even if we went to an automated pickup system, we wouldn't be charging them like quarterly or who wants, it would be
Well,
by them, still buying bags.
I don't think we should get into possibilities on changing in the future because there's too many variables.
I think to answer your question directly, right now, the answer is no, we won't be making any changes. However, next contract cycle, that discussion may come up. So I would, if we partnered with Waste Zero, I would try to look for a contract duration to mirror our current curbside hauler contract. And then have the two of these contracts coincide, chronologically to make sure everything worked harmoniously.
Guess I don't have any more questions for you.
How much longer do we predict have left with before we need to make a decision?
We need to make a decision pretty quick.
Okay.
Which leads me to my last question, if I may. If we decided to partner with you, we still have some bags in stock.
Mhm.
Would we let those deplete before we started with you? How would the contract reception work out?
I mean, that's entirely up to you. You could use the remainder, you could not use the remainder. Typically, for us to get a program up and running, we'd say 90 days at most, 60, depending on which stores you use. There are a couple stores that take a little bit longer. Some of the bigger chain stores, we ask 90 days, could be 60, again, depending on the stores. We like to have the bags in the stores 2 weeks prior to the program beginning, so people have a chance to purchase them. So it depends on your timeline. I'm not sure,
You don't have 90 days worth of bags.
No.
So I would have to reorder bags.
Well, we can talk about that offline. If you guys make a quick decision, I can bring it back to the team and see what that looks like.
Okay.
As far as getting that up and running, even if, worst case scenario, if some of those stores that take longer don't have the bags up and running when the program begins, you can at least have them in the smaller stores where the lag time isn't so great.
Okay. When you're saying the biggest stores, are you wanting them to take 90-day supply at a time?
No, not 90-day supply, just as how long, it's a process. So getting the bags into the stores, it's a lot of behind the scenes work. It's a lot of like accounting, stuff way over my head. So there's a lot of steps that have to happen with those store chains to get the bags into the store. Once they're up and running, they're good. It's seamless, but just getting them into the stores can sometimes take a little time.
Okay.
I have a couple more real quick questions. Do you know who geographically in this area is using the RSD program? Or if not, can you email me that information?
Yes, we can absolutely email you a list. I know Attleboro, for example, I'm not super familiar with this area. This is Taylor's area. Attleboro definitely has RSD, but I can get you a list and you can reach out for references, definitely.
I think that about covers it. I mean, we could, depending on the logistics, we could place another order to get to us to the point where we can make the transition. I don't think we'll have a situation where we will sell the last bag and we will move over to Waste Zero. There might be some stock in between that.
But that's fine. I mean, if we have stock left over or we have people that have them, I mean, you could still throw the other bags in the trash. It's not like our hauler is going to reject the old bags.
You can have an understanding with your hauler while we transition or taking X or.
Jim, we could also, when we're talking about having bags here and at Council on Aging, we could use our older bags
Get rid of the stock.
to get rid of our stock, have the vendors have different ones.
That makes sense. Okay. Right. So, and one last question.
Mhm.
On the money side of things, I know we have this, payment from Taylor.
Yep.
The cost per case is clearly, any other maintenance fees or charges that we could.
No, this is it. This is it.
So our statement would basically say, so-and-so ABC used 10 cases. Here's the revenue from the sale of those cases.
Yep.
And there's no other charges.
No.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No,
No, thank you.
All right, well, you know where to find us if anything comes up, if you have any questions, and yeah, of course. Thank you. Have a good one, guys. Thank you.
okay, this one should be quick.
Um. So for. This discussion. For the track, but is there a way to, I mean, I would like to move on it fast, so we have. Is there a way to get together or put together all the quotes into like an Excel sheet so we can see the cost differences and the service differences and. Put it on the agenda for next month to make a decision?
So if you're thinking about using the RSD program, Wayzero is the only one who offers that.
I know, but we got quotes from
We did.
2 other companies,
Right.
3 other companies.
We had one come in late today, an additional one. So I would like to get that out to you as soon as possible. And then I'd like to reassess the bag count that we have. And then, I hate to see an additional meeting before next month's meeting, but if it requires a special meeting, I think that might be in order.
Yeah, I just think we need to discuss what the process is currently, like how do stores get bags if we don't go with the RSD program? And because, I mean, obviously it's $10 to $12 roughly more per case if we go with their RSD program. Is it worth it? How much time do we set aside? How do we get the bags to Rochelle's? Like, how do we, you know what I mean? Like, I'd like to talk a little bit of logistics and.
Yeah, I did some quick numbers on the soft costs. They far exceed $10 a case.
Yeah, the first one, I just figured out, even if clear bags with black print, if we are clear colored bags with ties is $11.20 more per case. And to the point of, it's just, you're automatically going up. I don't know what there are. I don't have the numbers to compare the RFP prices versus the other companies, if they're all the same.
They're all within a few dollars. There's no disparagence between vendors.
If we can get something together.
Yep.
And just throw in all the RFP prices, and then obviously separately put with the program that they have.
Yep.
Because if it's no sweat off of our back getting a couple of cases to Rochelle's on a regular basis, then I don't see the point of consumers paying $10 more a case. Well, I mean, it wouldn't be
Actually,
down to a roll of bag, but it would still go up in cost.
yeah, it comes down out to small bags, it comes out to 4.5 cents a bag, our cost. And 6.5 cents a bag for the large ones, our cost. So it really wouldn't have anything to do with their costs, the consumers.
Well, yeah, I mean, ultimately, at the end of it, the consumer's paying for it.
but I think it's noteworthy that as part of this change, I'm going to make a recommendation to the board for a bag fee change. Because our curbside program is not being paid for, it's being taxpayer subsidized. The bags are not paying for your curbside pickup. So we need to move more towards a system where we try to cover the costs associated with said program. So as part of this, and certainly you don't have to agree, I'm going to actually suggest that bags go up in price from what they currently are in order to try to close the gap between our deficit on our expense side of the ledger, which is pretty significant right now. So, we're not going to fix this all in one fell swoop, but if we're going to change bag manufacturers, which, by the way, based on the amount of complaints that we're receiving, I won't be recommending our current vendor. Well, I would like to change vendors. So that said, I think the RSD program is worth discussing.
Oh, yeah.
Hence the reason I had Lauren come down. As far as the program itself, the current structure that our program has, I would also recommend a change. Our vendors are buying, our retail outlets are buying bags at a significantly discounted price, which hurts our revenue side when it comes to paying for the program. So, as Lauren said earlier, bags should really not be a something that these retailers can profit off of. But it's more of an attractant to get people into your store to buy other things. It's very rare that you will run down to the store needing trash bags and leave the store without something else in your pan.
Exactly.
So-
That's why I think that,
Yeah, I definitely think we need a special meeting on trash bags and we need to talk about like what our current costs are, what our current deficit is, what your suggestion is for going up in fee structures and like everything just needs to be
Okay.
examined at one.
If it's not a special meeting and it waits till next month, that's fine too. I do have training at Amherst the first week of October, then I am off for a couple weeks, so maybe getting all that together for the next meeting is okay. I just want to make sure we manage our inventory properly.
Okay.
And if we need to make another order, we make another order.
okay.
Okay,
Sounds,
all right, thank you.
all right. I just found a discrepancy on the next item. I thought all of our board members would be here and it includes actually everybody. I discussed with the selectmen that we should all have the code of conduct signed and submitted to town hall. However, I just noticed that the current code of conduct is signed by 3 selectmen that are no longer here. So I would like to table this until the next meeting so that we can get the code of conduct signed from our current selectmen. And to make sure they don't want to make any changes.
Okay, sure.
Yes. Like I said, to me, it's not current because it's got,
Got it from the internet, the website.
you know, from the internet.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's not a major issue, something that I just want to get done, so.
One thing, if this was implemented on a specific date, and those were selectmen who were on the board at that time, then it would only be signed by, it wouldn't be signed by a subsequent board.
Unless it's been changed.
Right, so this was approved, 2020,
Yeah,
so these are the 3 selectmen who approved it.
okay,
That means it runs concurrent with any other board unless they want to change it.
okay,
We don't have a change.
no, they haven't requested,
So this would be the current.
so you think we should move forward and sign them now?
I think this is, this was voted on July 2020, and these were the 3 selectmen who were currently sitting on the board.
I'd like to get a motion that we can, sign all these, the people that aren't here. And I'd also like to include the stormwater committee, because the stormwater committee is a subcommittee of the Board of Health.
Yes.
So after tonight, Elizabeth, I'd like you to get a hold of stormwater committee, have them sign all these, so then we can file them with town hall as one package. I get that motion, Pat?
Sure. I second having stormwater committee sign this as well. And we'll sign it and move on.
Okay, I'll step down and second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I will sign mine. With the blue pen, Elizabeth. Did Tracy have one? That's Tracy. Do you still fall underneath us?
Yes. Animal inspector.
Animal inspector fall underneath you.
So,
I've already signed one of those with that.
yeah, I know, and, Jim also signed one way back, and we were asked to get one from it, so that we have a whole package of the Board of Health. So that, because you only sign the same thing anyways, so we can just have a current one, that's all.
Okay.
Correct.
It's on file and I think I was on the Board of Health when I signed it. I'm not going to sign this because I don't have to come to these meetings, so.
Well, it doesn't have anything to do about the meetings.
There's to be prompt and we have regular meetings, talk with the follow.
Yes, I agree with that, but you're not, you're not required to come to these meetings.
But this says I am. So I know I'm not required to be here.
Well, Jim, get your opinion on this. It is my understanding that every town employee is to sign the code of conduct.
I-
Maybe.
That's way back.
What's that?
I did sign, well, it's all that too.
No, I know. So this is the same thing that you signed before. It's not worded any
But
different.
now you're putting it as under the Board of Health, so that means those meetings that you have, I would be required to go to, even though I've been told I'm not to, I don't have to.
It's not so much under the Board of Health as much as it's come to everybody's awareness that
But you
Who's-
said you were gonna put it in a packet with Board of Health.
So
You report to your boss. Okay, that's their job to handle it then. Thank you.
what I well, put in the packet, I want to put a packet together so that we can bring it over, file it with towns, so they know at least the Board of Health. Everybody has one on file and it's current.
But she doesn't report to us. So if she reports to the police department, it's up to the police chief to have her sign her HR paperwork. Not up to us.
Mr. Chairman, I think we can probably rectify this and I can ask the chief of police to provide a copy of Stacy's and we can include it with our Board of Health packet.
Okay,
Because she does come and she does play a role as animal inspector in some Board of Health matters. So
okay.
I understand what you're saying, but I think just having the chief provide the copy that she signed to us is all we need for our.
Yeah, well, all I'm saying is that, from what I've been told, every employee, whether on a board or not, they're supposed to have it signed and filed. And I just want to make sure that our Board of Health and subcommittees are compliant. I know there may be other departments of town that aren't compliant right now. I'm concerned of our department to comply.
Okay.
So it's official that we have a manager of our department, correct?
Yeah, so
So the manager who has access to employee records can make sure that everybody has signed it. And if they have not signed it, it can be their responsibility to make sure that those people sign.
yeah, and I'll report back to the board at the next meeting that that's been done.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, we can move on. Have to move on?
Yep, it's getting to the variance, right? Is that next? Yep. So this septic repair plan came into the board for review. It was reviewed. There is a variance that can only be acted upon by the board for this installation. I'll defer to the engineer who designed it for the details. I support the variance. I just don't have the authority to issue the variance, which is why it's before you tonight.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Mark Roberts. I'm from Analysis and Design Engineering. I'm here today to the board about a variance request for a on-site sewage disposal system repair for Ernest Silver, 1204 Pine Street. The proposed plan is replacing a failed system, and it includes a 1,500-gallon 2-compartment monolithic septic tank, an Advantex pre-treatment unit, and also a bottomless sand filter. So those are the 3 components of the system. In the course of designing the repair system, it was discovered that the current building sewer exiting the foundation is under the slab rather deep. There was some 30+ inches of cover over the existing tank, and the PVC building sewer exits towards the house approximately 10 feet or so underneath the slab. So my proposal was to reset the new system, the new tankage, 2 components total, at approximately the same elevation as the existing tank, which led us to the waivers and more importantly here at this moment, the variances associated with the vertical separation between the seasonal high groundwater table and the inverts of the pipes entering and exiting the tankage, total of 2 tanks, 4 pipes.
Is this gonna be a pump system?
Yes, it's a bottomless sand filter, so that's a
When you say bottomless sand filter. What does that mean? There's no bottom of the tank?
no, the tanks, the septic tank is a conventional style septic tank. It discharges into a pre-treatment unit.
So what's the pre-treatment unit?
The pre-treatment unit is a Advantex AX20 system, which provides some additional treatment of the system before it's discharged to a soil absorption system. In this case, that discharge is by pump to a time dosed pressure distribution type network, if you will, which consists of, yes, which consists of, as I generically sandbox, sits above grade. It is a common occurrence in terms of Rhode Island type activities, and Massachusetts, dating back to, I think, about 06 or so, has approved these types of systems for remedial use. The type of bottomless sand filter as a soil absorption system, when combined with a requisite pre-treatment unit, in this case, the Advantex pre-treatment unit, serve to make an extremely small footprint for the system as compared to a conventional leach field, be it stone and pipe or plastic chambers.
Just so the board understands why you chose this technology, the perk rate at this property, as I know, because I witnessed the perk, was over 60 minutes or just under.
It was about 58 minutes an inch, so
One of the worst perk rates you can get.
at the bottom of the table, yes, sir.
Right, what, isn't our regulation like 30?
Yeah, but not for repair,
Right,
for new construction.
for new construction.
Right, so the difference between a typical field type setup versus a bottomless sand filter in size would be what?
Significant. This is a 7.5 by 30-foot bottomless sand filter. And I don't know exactly what the number is, but the equivalent conventional leaching field is shown on the plan. There's an area shown there, and you can see that it's extremely huge.
This is what the regular field would be because of the 58-minute perk rate. They go on with the BSF and all of the approvals from DEP. This is the new size of the leaching area because of the pre-treatment. So basically the pre-treatment unit, and I don't want to speak for you, it reduces the nitrogen levels in the sewage. So when the effluent makes its way out to the leaching area, you're allowed a much smaller footprint because the concentration levels in the sewage are much cleaner than what they would be normally. So that's why you're giving the reduced area for the leaching.
Now, can you just give me a little detail how that works as far as the pre-treatment? Do you have to add anything to it?
No, sir. There's no additives whatsoever. The actual pre-treatment as compared to that of a conventional system is we do have a conventional tank, 2-compartment in this case. As a requisite, it's required. The effluent discharge, the liquid effluent discharge from the tank goes into the Advantex pre-treatment unit, and then it's cycled through the chambers of the system, passes it through a membrane, a geotextile type membrane fabric. So there is a box cover, if you will, that is at grade. If you were to lift up the box, you'd see a number of vertically stacked, if you will. Not like this, but side by side, and it filters the effluent repeatedly under time dosing.
Do they have, those filters have to be changed?
They are. They have a very long period of use. And as with any IA innovative alternative technology such as Advantex, they require an operation and maintenance contract serviced by a licensed, trained service provider at a frequency of 2 times per year. So there is a cost associated with pretreatment, regardless of the type of pretreatment you use. which is that the requirement imposed by the state, by DEP, is that there shall be a contract in perpetuity for said system, which requires inspections that are done twice per year.
So once the system's in, homeowner has to pay third-party company to service this twice a year?
To provide operation and maintenance, yes. The answer is yes, sir. So the bogey associated with IA systems, and in this case, a bottomless sand filter, which saves a plethora of dollars associated with the overall size and excavation, is that there is, and it's signed and made clear by the owner of the property that an IA system must be serviced in perpetuity under O&M contract. So in your files, you'll find that an owner certification statement has been signed by the owner, acknowledging that they understand that this type of system does require operation and maintenance.
Jim, what do we have into play if somebody decides they just want to neglect and not do it?
So now that I've taken over oversight of the department, any IA technology system that is currently in use, along with the health agent, we're gonna compile a list, and they will receive letters from us requiring them to comply with the O&M mandates by the state. The municipality is the only way that we can apply conformance with that.
Right, and if they ignore that, what can we do about it?
There's a mechanism that we can use to force them to comply through fines, et cetera, but I find that once an owner knows that they're required to do this, they comply. Usually the reason they don't get maintained is homeowners just don't understand. They don't read all the paperwork. One of the things that I intend to do, being involved in the health departments, making sure that a property owner knows their responsibilities when they install a system like this. So, and I know you had brought this up in the past, so I'm making sure homeowners are aware of what's going on. Anytime we have a review of a plan and there's a letter that's associated with said plan, that the homeowner is getting that letter. So they're fully aware of what's going on. That will be no difference here.
Okay.
And all of those things that the engineer has indicated would be required to be submitted, including an O&M contract prior to the issue of certificate of compliance.
That's correct. And further, that the DEP in its approval of, in this case, bottomless sand filters, along with any IA system, is there's a deed notice that is placed on the registry of deeds, indicating the existence of said IA type system.
Okay.
And in this case, the IA system, the Advantex and the bottomless sand filter. So there are two documents templated by the DEP that would be filed at the registry of deeds. So any title search of said type of system would be found in the records of the registry. And that is all a copy of those notarized and recorded deed notices is required to be placed on copy with the Board of Health. So the Board of Health will have copies of those along with the operation and maintenance contract, along with a statement by the property owner certifying that they understand the terms and conditions associated with said system. This is not uncommon for me personally in other towns, especially nearby Westport, which has denitrification requirements. I've done, on the order of 20 bottomless sand filter designs in the past year. So they're very common in a repair situation for small lots to provide maximum nitrogen reduction, especially when you have issues associated with setbacks to wells.
Now,
Also done quite a few in Swansea as well.
the waiver that you're asking for is because the tank is going to be below the water table.
Yes, in particular, absent of all of our discussion about a bottomless sand filter in IA, whether it be a conventional system or an IA type system, DEP Title V requires that the vertical separation distance between the high groundwater table and the inverts of tankage in and out be 12 inches. In cases where 12 inches cannot be achieved, which would be in the case of a repair that you would be presented with this variance, they go on to say that local approval authority may approve it if it's within 1 inch given the condition that the tankages are booted and sealed. So if I was less than 12 inches, as 2 of the 4 pipe outlets in the outlets are, but I did have at least an inch, it would be a simple waiver that I would come to the board with. But because, given the depth of the existing sewer pipe and the complexities associated with raising that pipe under a slab, you can only imagine how that would work. One of those, or 2 of the 4 of those pipes are actually at or just under the water table. So I've got on my plan a waiver for those 2 pipes that are less than 12, but more than 1 inch above the water table. And the other 2 do not achieve that minimum of 1 inch, which brings me here to the requirement that I pursue a variance. And this is not the first time that this situation has occurred where I have to go for formal variance. Hence the board meeting versus a simple local approval of the authority for,
Right.
setback to a foundation wall, let's say, or something of that nature.
Yeah, and I didn't know if we were talking the inlets or the bottom of the tank. So the bottom of the tank can be in the water table.
Yes, sir. Oh, absolutely. And that is almost always the case in areas such as Dayton. But it is the invert elevations of the pipes.
The only last question I have is on the bottomless sand filter, you've got 1 layer of bottomless sand and then you've got another layer of septic sand.
Yes.
What's the difference?
The sand between the virgin material, the indigenous material, can be placed when you're trying to get down to the layer at which you wish to begin the interface between the natural material and the septic. So that septic sand is the particular sands that you would see conventionally at any leach field whatsoever where you have an overdig. So that is the conventional septic sand. In the case of a bottomless sand filter, the design requirements have a very special sand. It's the ASTM 33 sand. As I say, ASTM 33 on steroids. So there are some very specific requirements associated about the soil texture associated with that sand.
So it's a different sand. than-
Yes, it's construction sand, but even more refined in terms of the percentages of the very fines associated with it. For instance, ASTM 33 sand has 5% that would be allowed under a number 400 sieve, the last sieve in a sieve analysis. And in this case, it's 0 to 1% max. So there are regulations. I will be obtaining a copy of the ASTM BSF sand that is used, and a copy of that will be submitted to the Board of Health, certifying to me first and secondly to the board that it is in fact the appropriate bottomless sand filter sand.
Okay.
The design of BSF's bottomless sand filters and the regulations associated with that design are Rhode Island's regulations. So in the state's Massachusetts approval of a bottomless sand filter for remedial use, it says, go see the Rhode Island regulation. So again, whether or not we were BSF and conventional versus IA type system, the pipe leaves the building such a deep depth and the complexities, hence me saying it's more reasonable to approach the board with this type of a system, with that variance. The monolithic septic tank is by the manufacturer, a booted tank. So there are rubber boots on it and stainless steel straps on that. So that accommodates the requirement of having the booting. And in the case of the Advantex unit, which is a plastic unit, it's not concrete, it's plastic. They actually have sealed, gasketed fittings, PVC fitting, if you will, that you slide a PVC pipe into it and glue it.
Right.
So given the fact that I do comply with the requirement for booting and sealing, I think this is a reasonable proposal to bring in front of the board for said variances. And again, not the first time that I've been to boards.
Yeah, had this been in a house with a basement where the plumbing could have been raised, then I certainly would have worked with the engineer to say, this is the route we want to go. But in this particular case where the plumbing is below the slab, there is no access to that plumbing unless we jackhammer and take things apart. That just
Oh,
doesn't seem.
below the slab of the cellar?
Yes.
Below the slab on the first level of the building, yeah,
It's a raised ranch, sir, so that,
Okay.
yes.
and it drops below quite deep, as a matter of fact, surprisingly deep when I look at the covers to find the existing tank.
So there's really no option, we can't pump more than 25% of the flow from a house, so you can't even go into a pump and then pump up to the septic tank. There's no option available to us. I don't want to belabor this about the BSF, but I happen to be trained in these as well. The effluent that is discharged into the sand filter is very, very clean. So when you're looking at the longevity of a system, even though you have maintenance for the system, which is a cost to the homeowner, when you have a perk rate of 58 minutes per inch and you're putting normal effluent, which is full of solids, that eventually is going to clog up that field.
Well, that was one of my questions.
That field is not going to have longevity.
Right.
So going to an IA technology like this is gonna help the system last for years to come, even though there's a maintenance component to it. That effluent that's being discharged into the leaching area because of the pretreatment is much cleaner. I mean, if you go to the trainings in Rhode Island, they'll tell you put a glass of water under it and drink it. I always tell the trainer, you drink first, I'm not taking any, but that's the theory behind it, so.
Right. Okay, so now. Where do we move forward? Are you gonna present a waiver to us?
This is the variance request, so the board, if they agree with what's been proposed, you would grant the variance for the, would not have any subdivision, you not want to be, pipe.
Two of the four, yes, sir.
All right, the other two, I'm able to give the waiver, as the health agent director, but I can't issue the variance.
Okay. All right, I'd like to get a motion to approve the variance.
Make a motion to approve the variance at 1204 Pine Street as requested.
I second.
Aye.
I'll step down a second.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, approved.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks. All right. Good night. Good night. Good night.
Have a good night. Take care of.
I wouldn't want to. Sorry, losing my hearing. Oh.
We haven't been trained yet.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so, health director position. You wanna make a motion to eliminate that?
Sure.
All right, have a good night.
What do you got?
So, in talking with the selectmen about my employment agreement, this letter, do you have the letter in your packet?
I don't think. So.
No.
Why would you put it in the sign letter?
Currently, I would paid, out of the health agent's line,
Yeah, I know, I was,
from health agent.
you should have got that. I was in on the meeting.
This letter is to solidify the fact that I will now be paid as the health director, and I'll be paid out of the health director's payroll line. Of course, there's some language in there about the employment agreement. It doesn't go into too much detail, but it basically says, as health director, I'm working with work, and that the board agrees to pay me at the agreed stipend of $400 a week. Which is slightly more than what I'm being paid for the health agent's position, which was $350.
Do we need to sign? Does this need to be signed for us?
Yes, please. If you so choose.
So this doesn't have to be voted on, we just sign.
Send it back to the slide. No, that's not to be voted on, isn't it?
No.
I read the letter, I think the second half says it has to be voted.
Yeah, there is the board.
On September 20th, the Board of Health approved. Yeah, so, all right, can we get a motion to approve this?
I make a motion to approve the change in line item for the health director's pay.
I'll down a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. There you go. All I was going to me sign with them, but
Oh. Sorry,
One was the way.
there we go.
All right, any public input? Heather?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, then. Make a motion that we approve the, well,
Make a motion, we approve the minutes from our regular meeting on August 15th, 2023.
I'll step down a second.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, approved. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I get to step down a second.
Aye.
Aye. The meeting is adjourned at 5:40.